Dr. Sinclair.
Doctor.
Yeah,
What is the current state of science as applied to longevity treatments? Like, because I know that there's some pretty groundbreaking stuff that's in the pipeline right now.
Yeah, so since 2019, a lot of what we talked about has come true, which is the amazing thing. We were speculating in 2019 that we could potentially reverse aging. And that was a sin to say that as a scientist publicly in those days. I put it in the book. And it's actually come true since then, certainly for the lab, for mice, monkeys. And now we have a human clinical trial. The first potential human age reversal technology is in people right now.
Listen, it completely seems logical. The idea that at one point in time would have been heresy in science to discuss it. So that seems crazy. Like, if people get old and we understand the mechanism, why couldn't we reverse it?
Well, I think for a long time we had to accept it in the way that cancer used to be accepted 200 years ago, probably. There was nothing you could do about it. And then my colleagues and I found that aging has a root cause that's the same in pretty much every cell in the body, and that we could control that, and that there were genes that not only slowed it down, but in 2020 we had a big publication that showed we could actually safely, for the first time, reverse that process, like reinstalling software in the cell to make it work again.
And so what is is that using CRISPR? Like, what are you using to?
Well, we deliver genes into the body like CRISPR. I have a little prop here I brought
what is
in
that?
my pocket here. This is a representation of how we deliver the age reversal genes. It's a virus-like capsule that we make in the lab. And this is what's going into the patients right now, into their eyes initially. And the eye is a good place to start.
How do you pick the people to get on these tests?
They volunteer. I was really fortunate to see the first patient get dosed earlier this year. And that person bravely volunteered to be the first person to get trillions of these injected into his eye to see if it could cure his glaucoma, loss of vision. And
I bet if you have glaucoma, you're probably like, listen, what's the worst that could happen?
Well, exactly. He pretty much was totally blind in one eye, and so there's really nothing that he has to lose. There's a risk that something might go wrong, but not really. The good news is, and I can report to everybody around the world, that nothing's gone wrong so far. Everything's proceeding according to plan, and we're at a turning point, potentially, in human history if it works.
So I interrupted you, but explain this little virus transport system.
And for those of you listening, I've got a little rubber ball with spikes on it. It looks a bit like COVID, but don't be scared of it. It's not a pathogenic virus. It's actually a domesticated version of a virus. And this little plastic ball has little adapters. These red balls on the surface of the big ball target it to the cells in the back of the eye. And you can change the balls to target different tissues. We could change that outside little spike and target it to the liver, which we've done, and cured mice of their fatty liver disease as well. But this one's for the eye. And within that big ball is a protein capsule, and inside the protein capsule is our DNA special delivery, which we call OSK, or ER100. ER100 is epigenetic reprogramming 100, the drug that we know when we put it into human cells, it makes them younger, and then they work like they were young again. I admit it is science fiction, and I even have to pinch myself that it's actually happening. But we've done a lot of safety studies, and this trial is FDA approved because they've looked at all the data. It's in the eye, so that's why we start with the eye. It's enclosed. It's not going to spread. Nobody's going to grow another eye.
And so these trillions of cells that you're putting into the eyes.
The little capsule, the virus-like particles.
Trillions, I shouldn't call them cells. Trillions of capsules that you're putting into the eye. What are they doing for glaucoma?
Well, what they're doing is there are 3 genes in this DNA package, and I call them OSK. OSK are 3 special genes that we found safely reprogram cells and reboot the backup copy of youth, which we now believe exists in our body. That's a big deal, that there's a backup copy of youth. Even an old person, I don't see an old person anymore on the street. I just see a person that needs to be rebooted. We all have this backup copy that the DNA, the instructions to be young, that made us into who we are as kids is still in our bodies, almost largely intact. You just need to read it again. And that's why reinstalling software, or I used to use the analogy of a CD. Kids these days probably don't know what a CD is. It's a little plastic circle like a record that we used to put 20 songs on. Kids at Harvard, most of them have never held a CD. So
Isn't that wild?
yeah, though they're not coming back, but albums definitely. So think of it like an album that you scratch, and the scratches are like aging, and we are getting rid of the scratches with these 3 genes, OSK. So let me tell you how these 3 genes work, we found. There was a person whose name is well known in science circles called Shinya Yamanaka, from Japan, obviously, and he discovered that there was a set of 4 genes that could reliably make adult cells, like skin cells, into stem cells. And he deservedly won the Nobel Prize for that in 2006. But that wouldn't be useful here. If I turned you into a bunch of stem cells, you'd probably die within a few minutes. So we don't want to do that. And cancer is also a potential. So it took us from 2019, it took us a while to figure out that if we leave out one of the Yamanaka genes and just use 3, OSK, leave out the other one called M, we get safe age reversal, about 75-80% back to youth, but no further. We don't go back to 0, which is what Yamanaka did. And instead of cells losing their identity, which is what a stem cell has, no identity, we regain identity. So it's actually, I could draw graphs, but it doesn't really help listeners. But basically, old age is losing identity of your cells, so they don't work. They forget how to work. That's what we think old age is in my lab. And stem cells have no identity. It was like a very early embryo. In between, our cells have a lot of identity. They function beautifully. We're in our 20s, we're at peak. And what we've done is we've figured out how to go back towards youth, get these cells to work like they did again, get the backup copy somewhere it exists, we're looking for it, and now cells actually behave like they did when we were 20. And if it works, we're going to have glaucoma patients seeing for the first time. And that's the beginning of a whole cascade of drugs that I want to develop for diseases of aging and eventually whole body rejuvenation.
So the initial experiments are on glaucoma because it's a contained thing. The eyeball is a contained thing, and you could do it that way?
Yeah, my student, Wancheng Lu, who was doing this in 2017, I said, let's do the liver. Let's rejuvenate the liver. And he said, no, the eye is a good idea. And he was right. So that's exactly why we chose that first.
But just think about how many people have vision problems.
It's 40 million just in the US for glaucoma. Macular degeneration is even more. And in the lab, we can cure that as well in the mice.
Now, macular degeneration and glaucoma, these are diseases of aging, right, you would say? Or glaucoma is a disease?
Oh, yeah.
What about people that have had eyeball injuries and things like that? Is there a backup copy of the eyeball where you could sort of reformat the eyeball structure?
You should come work in my lab. At least come visit.
I would love to visit.
And the reason I say that is that's the exact question that we're asking. We showed that even if you injure, say, a nerve, whether it's peripheral in your arm or in your brain or in the eye, like the optic nerve, we can regrow those back to where they were. And actually in 2020, on the cover of Nature magazine, there was the picture of an eye. And in the paper we published, you could see the nerves regrowing back. And so we think that injury is also treatable. Actually, a group in China just took our technology, this OSK stuff, put it into mice that had bad joints, and it regrew their muscle and their bone back to normal.
Whoa.
And so we're also looking at treating injury, back injury, joints, osteoarthritis.
That would be phenomenal.
That's probably coming, and there may be DNA tests to see if you've got these OSK genes inserted. And we're working on a drink and a pill as well for...
A drink and a pill?
Yeah, we're now 8 years ahead of what the public realizes.
Really?
In my lab at Harvard, yeah.
A drink and a pill, and what's a drink and a pill going to do?
Well, right now it's in mice, so we've still got a ways to go. But when we give the drink to mice, they get rejuvenated. I've had to take my emails off public access because there's a lot of people that want this.
Oh, I'm sure.
There was one guy that wouldn't leave the building until he saw me. So it's getting to that point.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that, right? People get a little selfish, like it's all about them.
Yeah,
Okay.
and actually the U.S. government blocked an investment from a foreign country into one of my companies because they were afraid of super soldiers.
Ooh, what country?
Well, they're afraid of technology getting out. Which country?
Could I guess?
Sure.
China.
It wasn't.
Was it?
No.
Russia?
It was somewhere in between here and China. But
Oh,
I shouldn't
well, that's
say.
pretty
It's kind of
vague.
It's a little sensitive. But yeah, the U.S. government does have the ability to block foreign investment, and they did in this case. $160 million they blocked.
Wow.
That was a painful episode.
So they were worried that people were going to actually engineer super soldiers.
We're in the process of building, anthropoid robots that I think will be recruited to the army.
Yeah, that's going to be weird. Like, our robots beat your robots, so give us your oil. Well, how's that going to work?
And if we all have one at home, what stops the government recruiting them all?
Right.
Yeah, well, biology is a little bit more complicated, but already AI is doing a lot of the science that we used to do in my lab. In fact, what we just recently did it in a couple of months would have taken about 160 years to complete.
What?
And it's only getting faster. Eventually someone
Wait a
can
minute.
make
Say
a
that
drug
again.
on their phone.
Say that again.
2 months instead of 160 years.
Well, what exactly was it that you had to do?
Oh, so this drink and the pill that we're looking for, that's not easy. Right? So we have some candidate molecules. We have a cocktail that works, but we want a
Are you
single
taking
molecule.
this stuff?
Not yet.
You're thinking about it.
Yeah.
No one can stop you.
I might. Well, that is true. That is true. But it'd be a bad look if I died. So maybe I wouldn't do
You're
it.
not going to die.
I don't think so. We've
Come
done a
on.
lot of safety tests, and it looks really safe. But I'm not going to publicly do anything against the law.
Of course.
It'd be in private, of course.
Of course. Not publicly.
No, but I'm at a stage where I have to be a good boy because I've got the
Right.
world watching.
Yes.
A lot is at
Yes.
stake.
Yes.
And
A lot is at
If
stake.
this trial has
Yeah.
any issues, it's not good.
You got to
want-
dot your I's and cross your T's and follow every. I understand that.
Yeah.
But please
I was
explain
more of a
again, because
rebel
I'm
earlier.
being rude. I interrupted you. When you're
Yeah.
telling me that in 2 months it did something that would have required 160 years of work, like what do you
Yeah.
exactly mean by that?
Yeah, and now it would probably be impossible in thousands of years, because what we do is we're looking for molecules, a single molecule that can replace this cocktail. So you need a molecule to do 3 or 4 activities in the cell. Finding one activity is what pharmaceutical companies do. It takes hundreds of millions, if not billions, to make a drug. We know that, right? My little lab of 20 people and students, young kids, are trying to make one drug do 3 or 4 different things. That's beyond the reach of pharmaceutical experience, at least 5 years ago. So what we do is we've teamed up with a group at St. Jude's Hospital where they can take, it was 10 billion, now it's 1 trillion theoretical and also known drugs. So with my hands, I'm showing a big funnel. So this funnel is full of 1 trillion molecules, and we have to come down to 1. How do we do that? Well, we don't look for 1 trillion molecules at the bench. That would take 160 or thousands of years with the case of 1 trillion molecules, even with robots, even with a lot of graduate students. So we do it inside the computer. We just use a lot of compute, and we dock each of these molecules against the enzymes that we now know how they work, thanks to Google DeepMind solved the problem of how do all our proteins look, 20,000 of them. And there's a lot of compute, but out the other end, a couple of months later, we have I don't have 200 fingers, but 200 molecules that we can now test in the lab within a few weeks. Actually, next week, we're testing these 200 against human cells, and we've also got AI helping us to tell us if the human cells go from 92 years old back to 20. We can tell that just by looking at them, thanks to the AI.
Is there a way to stop them from turning you into a baby? Because that's what I would worry
Yes,
about.
yes.
I don't want to be a baby again.
Right. Some people are already
I'd like
there.
to cut it off at I was pretty good at 25.
I'm going to get attacked for saying this, but that is what we do in the lab. We take 92-year-old cells and they stop at 20-something.
Why would you get attacked for that?
Because on the internet, people take a clip and they say, Sinclair says we can all go back to being 20 again. You suffer from this too, right? They take a clip and it's
of course.
BS. It's out of context.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, cells from humans, skin cells, we take them back to 25. All my students can do this. In fact, if you had these little genes OSK in your garage, you could do this experiment. It's not hard at all to reverse aging. The question is, how do you safely make it a drug? And that's been the hard part over the last 10 years.
So how would it be able to regulate this reduction or reversal of aging and stop it at 20-something years old?
Well, that's what took so long. It wasn't obvious that these 3 Yamanaka genes called OSK were the right cocktail. My student, who I mentioned, Wan Cheng, he was struggling. He was trying a lot of different genes, most of them from embryos, because we know embryos have to do a reset in the first week of life. Otherwise, they stay the age of the parents. And he found that leaving out one of the Yamanaka genes was the trick. And now that we know, it's super easy. But in those days, he was ready to quit.
How did he find that out?
Well, he tried lots of different combinations, hundreds in human cells, and you look at the cells to see if they get younger, and then we can measure molecularly that they get younger.
And are you measuring them by the length of their telomeres? Are you?
Yeah, partly, but actually a better measure is the chemicals that are added and subtracted off DNA itself, called methyls. And it's just a carbon molecule with 3 hydrogens. Very, very simple molecule. But what cells do is they use these methyls to tag genes to be switched off. So when we're growing as an embryo, the cells that want to become neurons will shut off all these other unwanted genes like liver genes and skin genes. And the ones that don't get this methyl chemical stay on for our life, and that's how nerve cells develop and stay healthy. But what happens during aging, a friend of mine, Steve Horvath, discovered that you can use this as a clock. These chemicals, they change over time. And we found that that happens largely due to DNA damage, going in the sun, these kind of things. We could use this to rapidly age a mouse, which we published in 2023.
That's a 99-year-old man.
That day will come. That day will come where you will not be able to tell how old somebody is by looking at them. You'll have to do a test for these genes.
Wow.
How will you think about your life if being 100 is, you're still in your prime? You do things very differently. Who would you marry? What career would you think about? You might have multiple lifetimes, multiple marriages, multiple families. And that will happen. It's not really a question of if anymore. It's like asking the Wright brothers, will we fly? Yeah, we built the glider. We're going to fly around. The question is, will we build a Concorde? Will we go to space? And I think that will happen.
Yeah. No, I think so too. I think...
Is it going to work in humans? I think it's just a matter of time.
So in the mice experiments, what have you achieved?
Well, a lot. I can reveal here some of it for the first time. This pill that we give them, it's a drink actually because they can't chew. The mice within 4 weeks, with this cocktail, it has 3 components, which are top secret. My lab is sworn to secrecy. After 4 weeks, we give it to them 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, weekends off. Within those 4 weeks, they get better physically, mentally. Excuse me. So we put them through tests.
Just in a couple of days?
Oh, no, 3 days a week for a month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, right? Like, do you guys study the different... Like, unfortunately, certain people that have, like pale people, for instance, with thin skin, they age hardcore. They go...
And there are those kids that get old in their teens.
Right.
We study that as well.
Yeah.
And we're reversing that
weird.
too. But yeah, we do study the genetics of aging.
That's the real application for it, where people are going to be excited about it. People that have that, what is it, progeria?
Progeria, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we have mice that have this same gene mutation, and they get old really quickly, and we're giving them the drink right now.
And so in the drink, you give it to them how often and for a month?
It's once a day, every other day, 3 days a week, for a month. And in normal old mice, we see them fitter, stronger, better memory. They run around the cage
in just
better.
A month.
It's amazing. We only did a month because it was Christmas holiday season. We didn't want to go for longer, but it worked in 4 weeks. I'm shocked. Even these genes require 6 to 8 weeks to work for recovery of vision.
And so this is working on a different pathway?
Well, here's the cool thing. We think it's working through the same mechanism, the reboot, the reinstallation of software, the drink, because there are genes called TETs. There are 3 of them in the body, and they do something.
Spell that?
TET, capital TET. There's
Okay.
1, 2, 3. And these are genes that make enzymes that remove these methyls off the DNA. So they control the clock. And if we get rid of those genes, our system doesn't work. We cannot restore vision, and our pill doesn't work without removing and altering those chemicals. So, in other words, it's not just because the chemicals make the cell healthier, it's actually resetting this clock on the DNA.
Whoa.
And that was the big deal. I said, whoa, when my student told me. And that's why I think it got the cover of Nature magazine, which is we're actually looking at the clock of life, and we've realized that this clock that goes around, this biological clock, isn't just a clock. When you move the hands of the clock, time goes backwards for the body, meaning the clock is aging, and aging is the clock.
Wow. What is it? You don't really know in terms of humans, but is there any indication that improves cognitive function in mice?
Yes. I can say without a doubt that other labs and ours have shown that when you reverse the age of the brain in a mouse, it gets better at learning. And we even have some hints, and we're going to publish this, that lost memories come back.
Whoa.
So Alzheimer's patients, I believe, still have memories. They just cannot access them. And that one day we can reverse Alzheimer's disease by making the brain young. And that, using that approach, making the whole body young, we can cure diseases that are currently incurable.
Holy shit.
Well, young people don't get Alzheimer's. Why? Because the body can tackle the problem. The young body can heal itself. So my approach is make the body young, it'll heal itself in every way. That sucks. You know what I take for my hair?
What do you take?
Among other things? Viagra.
Viagra?
Yeah, actually, I shouldn't say the brand name.
That's why I take it for my hair.
That's what I tell everybody. That is true. It's low dose, 7 milligrams a day of tadalafil, and it's good for a lot of things. I
know it's good for endurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know athletes who take it for endurance. They probably
when a paper just came out about its role in preventing cancer, I tweeted what's not to love. And people love that tweet. But the point is, actually, last week they found that these drugs in mice and seemingly in people who take these drugs are actually resistant to certain types of cancers, like head and neck cancer. So
interesting.
They're turning out to be
because
really
it improves
important.
Blood flow?
Well, two reasons that are not related to blood flow, but they're related to what's called nitric oxide signaling, which is what helps dilate blood vessels in all your body, including your penis. The other two mechanisms, one showed that tadalafil is good for exposing the tumor to the immune system. There are certain cells called MDSCs that protect the tumor from getting attacked, and the drug stops that. So now the tumors shrink in mice and seemingly in people, in tumors. And then the second mechanism is really interesting. It seems to, this was sildenafil, so this is now Viagra, found that the cancer is, a lot of cancers thrive on cholesterol, and this blocks the ability of cancer cells to use cholesterol.
I thought they thrived on glucose.
That too, exactly. Right, so you want to be in ketosis if you've got a tumor in general, so fasting is good. But now it looks like these ED drugs might be good for it as well.
Fascinating. And wasn't, I think Viagra was an accident, right? Wasn't it a blood pressure medication?
It's a good story. It was for angina, right? It was for your heart. But the story goes that women especially and the men didn't want to give up the drugs that they had left over. It was amazing. I think it was 75% had a positive reaction for erections, and without it, 22. So it's very clear that it was working.
Interesting. And so how does it help hair?
Well, we don't know for sure, but there's a lot of evidence that part of the reason hair dies out and stops growing is a lack of blood flow. And the minoxidil that people put on their hair helps with that.
Right. Interesting. And then DHT inhibitors.
Exactly.
Also help.
That'd be dutasteride. People can take orally.
Yeah, the problem with that is my friend had severe depression when he took that.
Yeah.
It really fucked him up. And he didn't realize, because he didn't understand that was this. He was like, what is wrong with me? And he was getting suicidal. And then he got off of it and it just went away. And he's like, oh my God, I can't believe that.
Yeah. Well, I'm taking it for a number of reasons, including my hair and my prostate, see if I can keep it from growing. but fortunately I haven't had that side effect. But
It depends, right? It varies
Yeah.
biologically depending on the person.
Yeah, it's important when either of us says that drug's good, that drug's bad.
Right.
People realize that you have to test it, see, and with doctor supervision.
Yeah, that was where I was going to get to, was like, because different medications have different reactions, or different people's reactions to medications, they vary quite wildly. So like, before you make this public, like how do you determine whether or not this is going to be safe for a wide variety of people to reverse aging?
Oh, my drug, our drug that we're making, well, we will test it on a lot of people before it goes out into the wide world.
And you've started testing it on people so far?
Yeah, there are people right now who have these genes in their eye.
And how's it going?
I'm not allowed to say, but
Can you wink twice if it's great?
I would say that everything's on target.
Okay. That's good to hear.
Nothing bad to report.
Nothing bad to report.
Yeah, I think those might be the words I'm allowed to say.
And is that the only clinical trials you've used with any of these applications for humans?
So far, that was the first. Glaucoma and also sudden blindness. It's called Nion, which is now twice as more prevalent because of the GLP-1 drugs.
Really?
It's not well known, obviously. Companies don't want to talk about it. But yes, sudden blindness has doubled seemingly because of these meds. So you have to be
Holy shit.
careful.
Sudden blindness has doubled because of GLP-1s?
Due to Nion, which is like a stroke in your eye. And then your other eye can go, which is pretty scary. And there's nothing you can do about it. Hopefully our drug does work for those people.
And well, obviously, correlation does not equal causation, but it seems to be...
Yeah, there's a scientist at Harvard. You could look up his work, Joe Rizzo. It looks like it's repeatable across the planet.
Wow, that's terrible, because there's so many people out there that are just telling everyone they should get on GLP-1s.
Yeah. And
I've seen that like by online people, like online podcasters saying everyone should get on GLP-1s. It's a groundbreaking technology. This is amazing. It's going to transform society. I'm like, we just started taking these. The fuck are you saying?
Yeah, it's not risk-free. Same with ED drugs.
Here it
by the way.
goes. Recent studies suggest that a potential rare link between GLP-1 receptor agonist medications such as Ozempic, Wegovy, blah, 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 and a condition called non-arteritic anterior, what's that word? Ischemic? Ischemic optic neuropathy. An eye stroke can cause sudden, painless loss of vision in one eye. While absolute risk remains very low, anyone experiencing sudden vision changes should seek emergency medical evaluation immediately. Well, very low is like,
It's still
what does that
more
mean?
than 10,000 people. a
1 in
year
10,000?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's...
Oh, no, total of 10,000 per year.
Oh, total of 10,000 so far. For how many
Each
people are
year.
taking this stuff?
I think it's pretty...
The drugs were 68.6 times more likely to develop this, and 8 times more likely to develop diabetic. What is that? We only got the blurb. Oh my God. Then, wow. Yeah, man, these things are they're just rolling out. And the people that are like super enthusiastic and also they have some sort of a financial interest in promoting these things, which oftentimes does seem to be the case with a lot of these people. They have either stock in these companies or some sort of a stake in them. And I've gone 24 hours like it's nothing, not eating. It's like not a problem at all.
Yeah.
But that's the most I've ever fasted is 24 hours.
Okay. Well, see if you can go for 3. It's really worth it. You feel really great. Ketosis is wonderful.
That's what everybody says.
Yeah, and you go into what's called deep cleansing. It's called chaperone-mediated autophagy, or CMA. And a friend of mine in New York, Maria Corvo, studies this. And it cleans out a lot of the old proteins in your body. So ketosis doesn't just make you feel good. You're actually renewing your protein in your body and rebuilding it. And so I do that as an anti-aging. Well, either way, the maximum human lifespan is around 117, 18, which is still a lot more than we live.
And what's
normally.
really crazy is none of those people are doing everything right.
Exactly.
They're all smoking cigarettes and drinking wine and having a good time. And that's a factor that we really need to take into consideration. Loneliness And isolation and sadness are one of the greatest contributors to poor health outcomes.
It's number one.
Is it really?
Yeah, Robert Waldinger at Harvard had a study for, I think it was 40 years. World War II vets. They looked at everything, blood pressure, cholesterol. The number one thing that predicted longevity in those men was having a reliable partner. Yeah. So
Not just a reliable partner, someone that you love.
that's true.
Someone that you like want to be around all the time. You enjoy them. You still enjoy their company, which is possible. Most people don't believe that's possible.
Well, you're a role model in that.
I love my wife. I have fun with her. Like I've been with her for a long. I've been married for 17 years. I enjoy her. I enjoy hanging out with her. Like, she's cool.
And stress of a relationship. We've seen in studies that clock with those chemicals on the DNA, it accelerates when you're under stress or going through a breakup.
Oh yeah. Oh
You
God.
see it too.
Oh,
in how
I've seen people
look.
going through divorces, and it's just like it takes decades off of their life. They just look wrecked.
So relationships is one. And the other 4 major ones from that study were don't smoke, don't drink, get enough rest, and get exercise. And that was enough to extend by 15 years.
But what about those old people that live forever and do smoke and drink? Because that's kind of weird.
Well, they're a 0.001%. They're not examples of what.
Is that really what it
typically happens.
is?
Yeah, it's just.
So the
luck.
majority of people who get old and live to like centenarians, like what are the common things that they have?
The big one is that they don't stress a lot. They usually have a good sense of humor.
Interesting.
Right. They haven't been overweight, and they say that they typically couldn't remember when they last got sick. Yeah. Well, what I try to spend my day is efficiently helping the world, so that people ask me, why do I study aging in the first place? And it really is that I'm trying to please my grandmother, like some of us. She was the one that told me that I need to make the world a better place, and she's gone
That's
now.
what she said to you?
When I was 4, it's
Wow.
been that ever since. She told me 2 things. Humans are evil. She lived through World War II in Hungary, and
Oh, wow.
the Russians came in and raped everybody, she said. And then, so she escaped to Australia, and then she said that the other issue is that we don't do enough as humans to better the world. And so I had that stuck in my mind. She also, by the way, said, "Oh, we all die," and I thought that's not really fair, is it? And that set me on this path.
Make the world a better place and we all die. And you're like,
And what I've noticed with my kids is that even if you tell them that, they forget about it because it's brutal to think about death every day.
yeah.
But for some reason, it's just stuck in my head. And every day I'm like, another 150,000 people are going to die today due to aging-related diseases.
Oof.
So my lab is mission-oriented. If we're a day late with something, there's a lot of people that are suffering potentially avoidable diseases.
That's why it's sort of understandable that people like show up outside of your lab and like I need to talk to you. I need this.
Yeah, blind people want to get in the trial. It's big, and I think if the trial works, it's going to be a very strange world, especially for my lab and for me. But we'll see. And even if it doesn't work this time, the science is strong enough that we'll figure it out. We will do this. It's just a question of when.
And so do you think that AI is going to have a significant impact on the kind of improvements that you're able to?
It already is. We're
Yeah.
going super fast. And AI has revolutionized biology. It's revolutionizing everything, of course. But particularly in biology, where we used to have to read 15 papers a day. Now we can read 1 million if we want. It's totally different.
Wow.
Yeah, it's super brain. A 19-year-old came to my lab this summer, and the lab grows from 20 to 40 people. And we're trying to figure out, how do these 3 genes reset the cell? How does the cell remember what it was 30, 40 years ago? Where's that information stored in the cell? And I've got this theory that there's some new biology, there's a record in the DNA somewhere. And I gave him that task. I said, can you just go to the databases of the whole world, look at all the data that's there, is exabytes of data, and see if my prediction is true, or at least you can get evidence for it. 2 weeks later, he came back, and the whole team, not the whole team, but 5 other people were smiling. We have to show you something, David. All right, come in my office. We sat down. He shows up on the board on this LCD screen. I think we found the smoking gun for what your theory suggests. And he used AI to process all that data, and the AI came back and said, yeah, you're probably right. And it's a 19-year-old straight out of high school who did this.
Wow.
That did something that the whole field and all these professors and all these fancy sirs could not figure out until now.
That is phenomenal. That's so promising. It's so exciting.
It is. I mean, the future really does belong to people who can wrangle AI, even on their phone. I think people on their phones are going to be making medicines, or at least designing them.
Or bombs.
That's the problem. And bioweapons. Right. I mean, you recently had, was it Anna on the show to talk about bioweapons and this kind of stuff?
Mm-hmm.
That is a big worry. I actually had to disclose to the US government when I first got here that I did have the capability of making a bioweapon.
The Anna Jacobson episode that we just did on bioweapons was absolutely terrifying. Yeah, she's, I mean, she scared the shit out of the world with her nuclear war book, and now she's scaring everybody with her bioweapons book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary.
It is. What I've got is a database of all known pathogens and new ones that could come. So I'm trying to do my bit there to help the world if it happens again. Pandemic or something unnatural.
Yeah. Well, that would be, I mean, when you think about diseases that people get that just like wreck their entire body, if you really do have an original copy somewhere in their genome of what they look like as a healthy person, and you could switch that back on with a factory reboot.
Yeah.
I mean, we could potentially get rid of all diseases, which is just bananas.
And injuries, or fix injuries, grow new limbs potentially. There's a new paper that just came out a few days ago that showed that the tips of the fingers of baby mice can be coaxed once they've healed over as a stub to regrow part of the finger. The digit.
Haven't people done that before?
Yeah, they found just 2 factors were enough. So it's not that hard. The point is we've got the instructions to be young and to regrow body parts in our body. We just don't use them.
That's nuts. So like a salamander can grow an extra leg or a leg that gets chopped off.
Yeah. I believe we still have that capability. We just don't use it. It just didn't make sense to regrow a limb. It was quicker and safer to just heal it over as a stub and move on. But salamanders, which get their limbs presumably eaten pretty often, maintain that ability. So give us, if I wouldn't say that we could evolve this, but I think using a combination of our technology plus this new technology that we're seeing come out where these 2 factors can grow new limbs, I don't see a reason why we can't become like a Deadpool where injury doesn't hurt us, aging can't hurt us, and we can regrow body parts.
How far do you think we are away from being able to regrow body parts?
Oh, I mean, realistically, probably a couple of decades, but I've seen enough.
That's not that far.
I've seen enough to know that it's doable.
A couple of decades ago was 2006.
Well, things are going super fast. I mean, 10 years ago, we didn't even know aging was reversible, and now it's in humans.
That's nuts. Think of that. Well,
And that was
2019 when
without
we came
AI.
here, there was no
Yeah.
AI.
Right.
You know?
2019, it was an idea that we had just got the result in mice, and I divulged that to the world. Then it was published, and then we're in humans now. So if it works, then it's going to be a very different world.
And you feel very confidently that some of this stuff is going to work.
Well, it's going to work. I don't know if this trial is going to be successful, but there's going to be a lot of people doing these trials. I have some competition now. Do you know about that?
No.
So since I started my company, Life Biosciences, which is doing the trials with ER100, others have joined in the party. So Jeff Bezos and others have started Altos Pharma. They are based in 3 cities around the world. They have a few $1 billion to catch up. Sam Altman has RetroBio. And let's see, Brian Armstrong from Coinbase, the CEO, started one called New Limit. And they've got a lot of money, all billions.
Do you think it's good that there's all these people involved in this?
I welcome
it's good.
it. Yeah,
It's competition.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right.
I'm not doing this for my own personal benefit. I want humanity to be changed the way it could be.
And the more people like Jeff Bezos, the more people with a large bank account that are invested in this, the better.
Fantastic.
And of course, a guy like Bezos, he's balling out of control. Why wouldn't he want to live forever?
Well, what's left if you've got everything else?
Well, also, it's like if you've got the amount of money that he has and you can tackle all these different issues, like his space program that he's working on, all these different things, like, of course, why wouldn't you want to do cool things? Like, what's cooler than being able to grow limbs?
Yeah.
What's cooler than being able to cure all diseases and reverse aging?
Well, I don't think there's much cooler That's why I'm doing it, because that, I think, can be the biggest gift to humanity, is what you just said. So I don't know if I'll achieve it, probably not in my lifetime, but at least I've moved the needle and pushed the ball globally in that direction. This DDR gene that you just saw, was it DDR4? I know a bit about it because I'm writing it in my next book. DRD4, thanks, Jamie. I call this the FU gene because I'm trying to figure out what makes humans special over other animals. And this is one of them, that we are seekers, of explorers. And it turns out that this gene is turned on in teenagers. It gets eventually switched off. Not totally. But that might be why teenagers say FU to their parents.
Yeah.
But it's a way genetically to get them out of the nest. Like, oh, I can't stand these parents. They suck. They're idiots. I'm out of here. That's in this gene. So my latest show is about the eye and how to protect the eye's health. And so there's a lot you can do, actually. Supplements, red light, other things.
I take supplements for it too. I should mention that. I take I have no affiliation with these people, but Pure Encapsulations makes a supplement called Macular Support, and I take that. And it's a combination of lutein and a few other things.
Yeah, there was a trial a while ago that showed that taking xanthine and others, astaxanthin, lutein, they're good for the eye. So you can get products like that.
Do you take it?
Not that brand, but yes, I take something similar.
And has it helped you at all?
I don't know. I haven't done an experiment.
Right. Well, if you weren't taking it, maybe you would have more degeneration.
Yeah, well, I've got near perfect vision. I don't need glasses.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Near perfect?
Near perfect. I mean, I think low light.
Low light is with me,
is the issue.
Where I'll go to a restaurant with my kids and they can read the menu, and I'm like, that is so embarrassing. You can read that? How do you even read that? I can't read shit.
Yeah.
Like,
do you know why?
Why?
Well, this is what I think. So we know from my lab's work that the retina, because it has tens of thousands of endings that pick up the light, as you get older, those nerves lose their identity and they're not working as well. And what we do is, with our therapy, we can restore those nerves back to being functional nerves. And that's why mice and monkeys that lose their retinal function get their perfect vision back again. We're reminding those cells that have forgotten how to work. So in your eye and my eye, we're 22 months apart, that those nerves, about half of them have forgotten how to work properly. So we want to fix that and go back to being young. It's not that our nerves are gone. They're not dead. They're right there and we can restore them. And that's going to be true for a lot of organs, is that the cells are still there. They just need to be reminded how to work again.
What are the potential negative consequences of this kind of work? Like when you sit up at night and you worry, I hope it doesn't do this. Is it cancer? Is that the big one?
Yeah, though we've done a lot of work to allay real fears, it is possible that if we go too young, we can cause dysplasia, which is cells doing what they shouldn't, or if they multiply and spread, that would be cancer.
If you make the cells too young. Like what I was saying before about don't turn me into a baby.
Right. We don't want to go there. That's what Yamanaka did and got the Nobel for it. But that's not good here. But we never see our cells turn into stem cells again. We can't. We had mice that we left the gene therapy on for 21 months in the eye and 19 months in the whole body of the animal. And if anything, they had less tumors than the ones that didn't get treated. And we actually know from a wonderful student in my lab, Nalat, she's a PhD student. She found that when you turn on these three same genes, not in the eye but in cancer cells and tumors growing in mice, human cancers growing in mice, they shrink. So we think it might actually help for cancer as well, which was a nice surprise.
Wow. That's incredible.
It makes sense, right? If you wake up a
Yes.
cancer cell and it says, crap, I shouldn't be growing, I should be a liver cell or something similar. Now it kills itself. So we see that. The cells wake up, they realize what they were 30 years ago, and then they kill themselves.
What is on the horizon in terms of like what would you like to accomplish or would you like to work on that you can't do currently?
Well, lots. Funding in my lab got completely cut last year, and we've managed to survive through donations.
Why'd the funding get cut? Was it a USAID thing?
You remember there was a spat between Harvard and the federal government, all of the funding to Harvard Medical School got cut.
Was that during the time where the president was defending those anti-Semitic comments on campuses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Allegedly. I'm not getting into the politics.
No
but yes,
need to
that
get
was
into
the
politics,
thing.
but during that whole thing, yeah.
Yeah. So I almost had to fire most of the people in my lab during that episode. It was quite scary, but I
God.
raised so now my lab survives on donations, not on federal government money. Thank you, friends. Thank you.
Well, the thing is, you've accomplished enough to where people are like, I think he's on to something, and I want to live forever.
Well, I'm lucky. Most scientists can't raise money like that. So really, really, it's a blessing. And now I'm raising money through a foundation to help other scientists survive. But yeah, it's been a blessing. But your question was, what do I wish I could do?
Yeah.
I wish I could go faster. I wish I could try multiple approaches so we don't just have one shot on goal. It's going slower than I would want. With a big injection of cash, we could do a lot of trials, a lot of different tissues. We could do a whole body rejuvenation as well.
Do you have a website where people can donate?
I do. It's lifespan.com.
So if you go to lifespan.com,
Yep.
there's a link there. You
Yep,
could
we have
donate
a foundation, and we're raising money for this type of research.
Is it tax deductible?
Depends on how big the donation is. For $10, you get the new magazine that we're putting out, and you learn all about how to live longer. I'm hoping to build the world's largest longevity community of millions of people who can learn how to really live longer and build healthcare from the ground up, because top-down from the government hasn't worked. Yeah. Actually, I have a gift for you.
What do you got?
I made something for you that's unique.
Oh.
This is for you, Joe, as a thanks to all the support you've given me and the science over the years.
First edition. Lifespan magazine, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that.
It's written by
What a
scientists,
great
so it's.
cover. It's like a velvet cover. What is this
I figured you
material?
might like that. Inside is the magazine.
What is this material? It's beautiful.
Velour.
Velour.
Yeah.
Oh, velour, of course.
At great expense. No, the magazine doesn't come with velour. That's just special for Joe as a thank you present.
Thank you very much.
Most science out there is written by reporters who don't know what they're talking about, and so we wrote this for the public, and you can believe whatever you read in there.
All right. Beautiful. And
Yeah,
it's
thanks.
velour, so you have to trust it.
So that's at lifespan.com. You can subscribe, get that every month just for $10.
I like the take at the bottom. Life's too short. Let's fix that.
That's our slogan
That's
at
a
Lifespan.
great slogan.
Yeah,
That's an
yeah.
awesome slogan.
So it's a community. It's the show. My show is also called Lifespan on YouTube, but the magazine is a passion project. I want to put out something that people love. It's beautiful, right? It's like National Geographic. By the way, just today, this is no joke. It seems crazy, but my lab's research is on the cover of National Geographic.
Oh, that's awesome.
That just came out today. They heard, by the way, at Nat
Congratulations.
Geo, they said, "You going on Joe Rogan?" I went, "Yeah." They goes, "All right, we'll put it out early." So you can now read about my lab's research on Nat Geo as well today.
That's very cool. That's very cool. So you would just like to do more, have more funding, do more. That's the thing that you wish you could be working on now. Just having more different studies and tests running concurrently.
Oh, we could go so fast with AI because it's spitting out new drug candidates all the time that we can't test. It takes years to get through. So with money, we could do a lot more trials and put these through different diseases much faster.
If you had no regulations, like an Island of Dr. Moreau type deal,
Yeah.
where you know,
Well, at the risk of getting kicked out of my university, theoretically, we could very safely do more animal studies, and with those best candidates, put them into humans quicker. Right now, it takes years. It's taken us close to 10 years to go from the first discovery in my lab in Nature magazine to now. But that's too slow. There are people dying, 150,000 a day on this planet. It's terrible. So I would love to have the resources, like Jeff Bezos and others.
yeah,
My company, by the way, even though we lead the pack of all these guys, we're really small. We're a pretty small little outfit in Boston. We've raised a lot less money, but because I think we're focused. And we started earlier. We're doing pretty well.
that's the big one. You started earlier. You have a lot of momentum on your side. Yeah.
But I think we could have a big impact on aging in our lifetime with more money directed in general at the field, not just me, but spread it. And so the money that we raise from the magazine is going to support other labs as well, and students who can find these medicines quicker.
So if you, in a perfect world, and you had unlimited resources, you would just run a bunch of different clinical trials and studies concurrently?
Yeah, AI is feeding us molecules. We put them into mice, we go to monkeys, we go to humans, and it'll just be fast. One of my friends, Alex Zakharonkov, he has a similar company, but not on exactly what we do, not on reprogramming. But he's able, I think he's on his 35th drug, but he's driven by AI and robots. His whole lab is robots, at least he says they are. And then goes into humans. And his company is worth billions. That approach applied to what we do would be incredible.
That's best case scenario. That would be incredible. Well, I'm hoping through this conversation that people are going to reach out. And I'm hoping through this conversation that people are realizing, like, oh, well, so much work has been done and so many breakthroughs have been made. If they had more access to resources, more access to different, whatever you need, and that you could run all these different studies.
We could. Our budget in my lab is it's almost three and a bit million. It's not much, right, compared to what impact it could have on the planet, which is trillions of dollars saved just in the US alone. So it's a little bit of donation or getting a magazine. The impact would be life-changing for all of us. Who doesn't age? Who doesn't get diseases?
Right. And who doesn't want to feel better?
Yeah.
It's also like so much, you can get so much more done if you feel better.
Well, we take it for granted until we feel sick, and then it's like, oh,
right.
I forgot what it's like to feel well.
Exactly. I like coffee. Yeah. I'm not going to stop drinking it.
No,
I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Right, it's good.
And there's also like conflicting information. Some people say it's good for you. There's benefits.
It's good for you. Come on.
That's what I say.
No, it really is. Anyone that says it's not doesn't read the literature.
Well, I would imagine an overabundance of caffeine is not good. Too much is not good. But that's
true for everything.
Too much salt will kill you.
Yeah,
Eat
exactly.
a pound of salt, you'll be dead in an hour.
Right.
Yeah.
You can get away with very little sleep, actually, as long as it's deep sleep. Because what it's doing is clearing out the misfolded proteins in your brain and the toxins. We know this, the glymphatic system. And if you get deep sleep for, an hour, you're actually going to wake up much cleaner, healthier. And what I've been able to do with some work is figure out how to get deep sleep every night. Efficiency on these rings that say above 90, sometimes.
I like you say rings because you're wearing 2 Aura rings. Or one
different
in Aura.
companies.
Okay, why do you wear 2 different rings?
Because when I've got 2, neither of them is correct. No, the truth is some of them are really good for sleep. The others are good for heart. And so this one's my heart and this is my sleep.
What is the difference in the companies? Which one's which?
You don't mind me saying who they are?
No, I don't care.
This is an Aura, the fat one,
right.
And then the thinner one is called Ultrahuman.
Ultrahuman.
Yeah.
And which one is good for what?
Well, I find Aura really good for sleep. That's their specialty. And then the heart for Ultrahuman, my cardiac age.
Oh, okay. So it's just like giving you data all the time?
Yeah, and they're getting even better because I don't get paid by these companies, but I do like that they pop up with AI information now. Have you noticed that da-da-da, or I noticed that you ate a meal last night that spiked your glucose, and this one I have a monitor on right now so I can see what's going on anyway. But yeah, they're becoming
you
like
are fucking monitored, bro.
I am.
2 rings and a patch?
It's a hobby. It's a hobby. But you learn a lot. And I put one of these on my son, and he stopped eating bad food for a long while.
Really? Because he was just recognizing the impact that it had on his body.
It's good for kids. Now, I wouldn't say slap it on a kid without pediatrician recommendation, but it was amazing what happened when he could see the crap that was going in his mouth was doing to his blood sugar.
Really?
It was amazing. I think it's a great learning tool, if nothing else.
Right, just to have actual data. I know a lot of people, it's changed their opinion on alcohol, particularly the Aura Ring, when they look at their sleep.
Yeah.
Because even just a couple of drinks before you go to bed, like a couple of drinks at dinner, and then you realize like, oh, God, my sleep was all fucked up because of those drinks.
Yeah, lay off the modafinil too, for me anyway. But yeah,
Yeah, some modafinil fucks with your sleep as well?
yeah, put people in these hyperbaric chambers.
I've done that protocol.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it do anything for you?
60 sessions of 90 minutes over 90 days.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have one
There's
at my
a lot-
house.
You do,
Yeah.
because the data's incontrovertible. Better wound healing, better memory,
Increase in telomere length.
and was that they believe what I believe, which is it's not so much the high pressure that's good for you, it's the coming down that mimics hypoxia, which your room will mimic. So the lack of oxygen, or the perceived lack of oxygen from a high state, is the benefit.
Interesting.
And that makes a lot of sense. You're going to grow new blood vessels, just like Viagra is going to open things up. We actually had a paper 2012 that found that one of the supplements that I take, which everyone knows about, NMN, could allow animals to grow new blood vessels by getting rid of a protein that accumulates with aging. The bottom line is we could mimic this lack of blood vessels with this pill, but by exercising, it's the same. What I really believe, which is barely talked about in the medical establishment, is that a major reason we get sick when we get older is lack of blood flow. It's rarely talked about, right? Vascular dementia, second largest cause of dementia in the world, blood flow. And it's the easiest to reverse. You just do exercise or take one of these
Viagra.
PDE5 inhibitors, Viagra. Or you take my stuff, which is NMN, which we think also works.
Or all the above, which is probably the best approach.
I'm 2 out of 3. Hopefully soon 3 out of 3. But yeah, to protect your brain, which is the most important, because you don't want to be old and demented. That's
Right.
worse than anything. Keep the blood flowing in your body. Remember that. Blood flowing is important.
Yes. Couldn't agree more. David, you're a treasure. I really appreciate you. Thank you
So
for being here.
You've been so kind, and thank you for getting the word out here about the great science that's going on.
Oh, my pleasure, dude. I'm so happy there's someone like you out there doing this.